Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Tuesday, April the 8th City Council meeting. Now call this meeting to order, and I trust that your cell phones have been placed on silent. At this time, I'm going to ask for the last time, if he will, Councilman Smith, if he would lead us in the pledge and invocation, if he so desires.
Yes, I, space flag, ready the proper salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I figure in a parting gift, I'd go ahead and give a prayer, sir.
Thank you.
You bow your heads with me. Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight with grateful hearts, thankful for the opportunity and blessing to serve the people of our great city. As we gather for this final meeting for some among us, we reflect on the honor it has been to lead, to listen, and to labor for the good of others. We give thanks for the wisdom you have provided, the strength to face challenges, and the grace to work together in service. For those who are concluding their time on this council, we ask for your continued guidance in the next chapter of their journey. May they carry the lessons learned and the relationships formed into whatever lies ahead. Bless this meeting, our discussions, and our decisions. Let them reflect the care and commitment we hold for our community. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Councilman. For special presentations this afternoon, we have one of our own Chattanooga firefighters that has been recognized with a distinguished award. And I'm going to ask Miss Susie Daly if she would come at this time and present that award.
Good afternoon. I am Susie Daly, and I represent the Tennessee Society Daughters of the American Revolution. I appreciate you giving me this opportunity to address this meeting and to present this award. Thank you, Councilman Chip Henderson, for making this possible. The Daughters of the American Revolution Distinguished Medal recognizes worthy citizens for their extraordinary service in the defense, promotion, or preservation of our American heritage of freedom. The medal is presented to an individual that demonstrates honor, service, courage, leadership, and patriotism. It recognizes a citizen who has contributed to the security, well-being, and freedom of the community, state, or nation in an exceptional manner. Senior firefighter Mark Hoffman demonstrated these attributes in his work with the 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb and with a soldier's journey home. In 2014, Mr. Kaufman played a pivotal role in establishing and coordinating the inaugural Chattanooga 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb. He has served as co-lead coordinator for the past decade. The stair climb honors the memory of the 343 fallen firefighters who perished on 9/11. 100% of the money raised goes to support first responders and their families. His involvement with A Soldier's Journey Home began as a construction team member on a house build project in San Antonio, Texas in 2018. Subsequently, he has served as co-lead logistics coordinator for the organization. A Soldier's Journey Home builds forever home for combat wounded veterans. On behalf of the National Society of the Daughters of the American Revolution, the Moccasin Bend chapter is pleased to present the Distinguished Citizens Medal to Senior Firefighter Mark Hoffman.
Thank you, Councilman Henderson, and thank you, Daughters of American Revolution. I accept this award with great humility and gratitude. A soldier's journey home, the Chattanooga 9/11 stair climb, and especially the Chattanooga Fire Department, are all organizations that require dedication of strong teams working together to protect the community, create meaningful ways to give back to those who have sacrificed so much, and to honor those who've lost so much on 9/11. I consider myself fortunate to be a small part of such an incredible group of individuals, and I'm truly blessed to serve in a leadership role alongside them all. Thank you again for this distinguished award, and I truly honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Susie, thank you for bringing that to our attention and for presenting that award. And Mark, thank you for your service, not only to our fire department, to the city of Chattanooga, but to the community as well, for your leadership and for all the sacrifices that you've made. We truly appreciate that. Thank you. All right, council, if you would take a look at this week's agenda, we have a couple of readings, a couple of ordinances on final reading, our sign ordinance and our tree ordinance. Any questions or comments concerning either one of those? We do have a couple of final readings under transportation. I trust that we're good as well on those two items. Ordinances on first reading, we have a couple of planning items that we'll be covering this afternoon. Anything that needs to be brought to the attention of the council at this time under planning first read? Councilwoman Dotley.
Yes, item C, case number 2025-0046. I just want to make you aware I'll be deferring that until April 29th.
0046, is that correct?
Yes, mm-hmm.
Okay,
Thank you.
so noted.
All right.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilman Hester.
Chairman, planning 0037, I'm going to defer it for a week.
1 week.
A week.
Okay.
April 15th, yes, sir.
All right. Any other planning item that we need to visit? If not, we'll move down into resolutions. We have several under council office regarding the ARP dollars. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have a couple on here. If there's any questions about the first one, there is a resolution waiving fees for use of Greenway Farms. This is similar to others that we have done where we have a great organization that holds free events for the public. In this case, it's Shakespeare in the Park. If you have not been, I highly encourage you to go and attend. It is absolutely fantastic. It's outside. It's by the old cabin. It's a great scenery, great atmosphere. It's a really enjoyable time. So that is one of the resolutions, sir. I'm happy to answer questions if there's any. If not, the other one on here does have to do with remaining ARP dollars that are being issued to support programming or youth programming in our schools, sir. Just wanted to point those out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It's been cleared up.
They've been cleared up?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, and then the last item under resolutions will be Office of the City Attorney regarding revisions to public records policy update. Councilman Ledford.
Mr. Chairman, we've seen this on the agenda and coming through future considerations. Phil, can you give us just kind of an overview, cliff notes on what's changing?
Yes, sir. It's just updating the policies on our procedures. The last amendment to this was in September of 2019. We've had a few things at least changed, at least regarding the I guess the departments. We're just trying to make sure we can have that information available whenever public records requests are made. And our office is establishing a list of people that we can talk to get things done.
Very good.
Yes, sir.
And this aligns us with the current TCA?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Helps us comply.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Council, looking at next week's proposed agenda. We will have Public Works and Committee, Public Works, Parks and Public Works Committee, which I will chair that committee next week. All of our ordinances on first reading will be final reading next week. We do have a couple of planning items that we had already deferred until the 15th for first read. Any questions or comments concerning any of those planning items for next week? All right, under resolutions, we have a couple. Well, we have Economic Development, Mayor's Office, and Public Works. Any questions or comments concerning any of those? Good. All right, if you'll take a look at this evening's purchase request, do I have any questions or comments concerning any of our purchase items for this evening? If not, looking ahead to future considerations. We have some under economic development. Under finance, we'll be looking ahead to June the 3rd for our operating budget as well as our capital improvements budget. And then a couple of ordinances or items under fire. And I think, Chief, if you would be ready next week to answer some questions about the ordinance amending Chapter 16 relating to emergency powers of the fire department. We'll cover that next week. And then we have Parks and Public Works. Any questions or comments on anything under future considerations? I'm sorry? It is a quiet group today. Okay. Is there anything else that needs to come before the council at this time before we recess? Okay. We do need an attorney-client meeting, so I tell you what, at this time, we will recess, I'm sorry. We will recess until 4:30. We'll recess until 4:30. All right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will now reconvene our April the 8th City Council meeting. Turning to our order of business for the City Council, Madam Clerk, if you would, with no objection from the council under ordinance's final reading, let's take 7A and B together as a package.
Item A, an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapters 3A and 3B, off-premise advertising and on-premise advertising. Item B, an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 32, Streets and Sidewalks, Article 13, Chattanooga Tree Ordinance.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to move approval on both items A and B, and thank council for allowing me to sponsor an alternate version on B.
We have a motion on the floor with proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. That motion carries. Madam Clerk, 7C and D together, please.
Item C, an ordinance closing and abandoning the unopened right-of-way in the 2600 block of William Street as detailed on the attached maps, subject to certain conditions. Item D, an ordinance closing and abandoning the unopened right-of-way in part of the unopened 5500 block of Florida Avenue as detailed on the attached maps, subject to certain conditions.
We have a motion on the floor to approve items 7C and D with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. Moving to ordinances under first reading, Madam Clerk, 8A, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 4326 Bonnie Oaks Drive and parts of properties located at 4314 and 4320 Bonnie Oaks Drive from RN16 Residential Neighborhood Zone to CN Commercial Neighborhood Zone.
Case number 2025-0037, is applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilman Hester.
I move to defer this to the 15th.
Second.
Okay, this has been moved, motion to
Right.
move to April the 15th with
That's
a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no? So moved. 8B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1000 West 19th Street from IH Industrial Heavy Zone to CCX 12 Chestnut Street Commercial Mixed Use Zone.
Case 2025-0044, is the applicant present? Thank you. Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman Dotley, I see an applicant with no opposition. What's your pleasure?
Well, this is just another great development in District 7, so with that, I move to approve.
All right. We have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. That motion carries. Moving now to 8C.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 5281 Usher Drive from RN15 Residential Neighborhood Zone to RN2 Residential Neighborhood Zone.
Case 2025-0046, is the applicant present? Okay, thank you. Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman Dotley?
Yes, with this one, I will move to defer it. Initially, I said April 29th, but I will move it to April 22nd. So I want to move to defer to April 22nd.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor to defer until April the 22nd with a proper second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. All right, Madam Clerk, 8D, please.
An ordinance to approve corrections to the official zoning map as referenced below.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did cover this in committee last week. Move to approve item D.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. That motion carries. 8E, please.
In ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38, the Chattanooga zoning ordinance as adopted by ordinance number 14137 on July 23rd, 2024, to correct references and unclear wording, allow certain dwellings as a permitted permitted use if rezoned CMU1 and CMU2 with the new zoning map and clarifying conditional use language.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We did cover this as well in committee last week to allow certain dwellings as permitted if rezoned CMU1, CMU2. Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. So moved. Madam Clerk, with no objections, let's take 9A through H, all under the council office.
Item A, a resolution waiving fees for use of Greenway Farm Park by Scenic City Shakespeare in the Park for performances and practices using the historic Snipeman Cabin area for 3:00 p.m. setup and evenings at 7:30 p.m. for shows and/or practices beginning on Monday, May 5th, 2025, and ending on Saturday, October 24th, 2025, with regard to the attached schedule. Item B, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Zelma Lansford to the Parks and Outdoors Committee for District 7 with a term beginning on February 14, 2025, and ending on February 13, 2028. Item C, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Early Learning to accept an award of $29,618 from the American Rescue Plan at Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to partner with the Friends of Hickson organization to support youth programming in schools. Item D, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Early Learning to accept an award of $4,000 from the American Rescue Plan Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to partner with the Bills Youth Association to support their program for underserved youth through the purchase of football equipment. Item E, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Early Learning to accept an award of $2,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to support Girl Scouts of Southern Appalachia's Troop 40260's end-of-year cultural educational tour. Item F, a resolution authorizing the City of Chattanooga to allocate $6,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds to support the Community Havens Camp Haven, a summer camp for boys and girls to encourage its growth and leadership skills, emotional regulation, and self-confidence. Item G, a resolution authorizing the administrator for the Department of Early Learning to apply for, and if awarded, accept an award of $6,000 from the American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds for the support of community forward programming at Orchard Knob Elementary and Orchard Knob Middle School. Item H, a resolution confirming the reappointment of Matt Patterson to the Sports Authority of the County of Hamilton and the City of Chattanooga with the term beginning on August 10, 2024, and ending on August 9, 2026.
What's the pleasure of the council? We have a motion on the floor to approve items 9A through H with a proper second. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. So moved. Moving now to the office of City Attorney, Madam Clerk, 9I, please.
A resolution amending resolution number 30075, adopting a revised public records policy to include updates and revisions in compliance with Tennessee Code annotated section 10-7-504A, and to include revised forms attached to said policy.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Move to approve, please.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. That motion carries. Moving now to purchases. Ms. Talley. Oh, no, not Ms. Talley.
Surprising.
Good afternoon, Council.
Good afternoon.
Daniel Harrigan, Deputy Director of Purchasing. We have 4 purchases recommended for approval this evening. The first one is from Early Learning. Council approval is requested for a name change from the Speech and Hearing Center to Signal Center for the agreement PA 100341 Social Services. The next one is from Fleet. This is a one-time purchase of a 2025 Autocar ACX 64. The award will go to Stringfellow in the amount of $511,532, utilizing the Sourcewell contract. The next one is also from Fleet. This is a one-time purchase of 2 2025 Autocar ACX 64s. The award will go to Environmental Products Group in the amount of $1,065,947.80, utilizing the Sourcewell contract. And the last one is from Fleet. This is a requested increase of $9,400 to cover additional equipment used to uplift a crime scene van, bringing the new total amount to $112,400. Fleet requested and approved the increase.
All right, council, what's your pleasure? All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve this evening's purchase with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. Ayes have it.
I have one renewal recommended for approval, which is finance the debt collection services.
All right, council, what's your pleasure?
Move approval. I have my light on.
Well, I see that now. I was waiting for you to just blurt it out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to confirm that in Chapter 35 of the renewal contract under debt recovery, that we have contractual protection, Phil.
Yes, sir. Under Section 35 of our current contract, we have data breach protection, and NRS is required to immediately notify the city of any discovered data breach of information and notify the customers as well, and then to provide credit protection to the customer if financial data has been compromised.
Very good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Any questions, any further questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. That motion carries.
We do have one RFP format recommendation, which is Human Resources is seeking a Medicare-eligible healthcare plan administration, including access to Medicare plans.
Okay. Council, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve tonight's recommendation for RFP with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Any opposed, no. So moved. Thank you, sir.
There is one sole source to report. Technology Services, the ArcGIS maintenance renewal from Environmental Systems Research Institute in the amount of $27,161.
No, thank you, sir. All right, that brings us down to committee reports. Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to say that the final report of the Legislative Committee of this council will be to inform the citizens that under my watch, chickens have remained food and not pets. I expect there may be some changes to that coming with the current state of things, but for now, that is my final report. However, I would like to take a moment too to add a few comments if now is an appropriate time, sir.
Go ahead, please.
All right. So we've had a lot of conversations about those of us leaving, and it, of course, is a bittersweet moment. But I have been truly blessed to have the privilege of serving the citizens of Chattanooga and the employees of the city of Chattanooga and all those involved for 12 years. But first and really foremost, the greatest thanks goes to my bride, who happens to be here today. There's not an event in the last 12 years of me getting into office that she was not there with me, by my side. When I was elected, every time, the citizens were getting a twofer. I tend to think that's probably why I got elected. But I can't thank you enough for your support. Would not be able to do it 1 minute, much less the rest of the time. Everybody's asked me, how do you do it? How do you do this? How do you have a full-time job? How do you have two of these in a full-time job? My answer is simple. It is the love and support of my wife. So on nights like this, where you have a lot of people going out, there tends to be an overuse of the word I. But nothing that I have accomplished since the time I've been here have I been able to accomplish without every person sitting on this dais and all of those that came before you, without the administration and all of you, every single person in the administration and city employee. I couldn't do it without you. So there is no I. And so I'm not going to talk about the I's. I'm going to issue the greatest thanks I can as well to each of you and to everybody in the city of Chattanooga. Councilwoman Coonrod, there is no doubt, and nobody would argue, that you came in here like a whirlwind. And we didn't know what to expect. And I got to tell you, I learned so much from you. So much. Your passion, dedication, the way you were just steadfast, but mostly the way you refuse to allow your community, or any, but specifically your community, be overlooked is second to none. And I learned a tremendous amount from you. Councilwoman Dolly. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the sweetest people you will ever meet in your life. She is also the one you never want to cross. There's a side of her that I promise you do not want to know. One of the most amazing hearts for her constituents. And that side of you that people don't want to know is when people try to do wrong by those constituents. But most of all, I want to tell you that I appreciate your word. When you give it, you mean it. You don't take it back, no matter what comes after. And there is no price you can put on that. Councilwoman Hill, I was so elated to see the scholar come to this body. The level and the depth that you dove into things. Again, just about second to none. The amount of detail you demanded, the amount of accuracy that must be had, the accountability that you insisted be brought to this body and to everything that you did was absolutely amazing and great to see. And I truly appreciate the diligence that you have brought to this council. Councilman Hester, we share a line in our district, and we go back and forth over that line a number of times. I got to tell you, we've been able to get a lot of great things done around Highway 58. A lot of great things, and a lot of what we were able to get done, and by we, I truly mean we, everybody here, is due to the information and the ability you had of figuring out what it is that the people needed out there the most. And you would bring that to us, and we would do what we could. And I truly appreciate all that dedication that you had. I expect that we're not going to see you disappear. Councilman Henderson.
Yes, sir.
We joined this council together.
We did. I thought we'd go out together too, but you.
Well, I thought so too, and then you pulled papers.
You left me.
That's another story we're not going to talk about right now, so I'm trying to be happy. I'm guessing we have voted on over 8,000 pieces of legislation together. That is truly remarkable. Rarely has a city council been really lopsided on votes. Something I prided myself on serving on this body is a way that we could work together. I remember one vote that was lopsided. It was a 2-7.
Me and you.
And that was also about keeping words. Despite what came after. The greatest compliment, or one of those that I could possibly give you, is that in that 2-7 vote, because you were the other vote, I did not feel like I was on the losing side. and I appreciate all the support you've given me over the years. Councilman Ledford. I'm going to keep this short so people don't know the things I know. Despite the challenges that this council has faced since you joined us 8 years ago, and I had no idea that was going to happen. So thrilled to have it. So thrilled to have it. The last 8 years have truly flown by. Similar to Councilman Henderson, when I think about legislation and the work that we have all done, I can't think of a single piece of work that we've accomplished, me specifically, that you weren't by my side the whole time. Everything we do takes a council to support it. But there are certain things that you get from some people that are just that support that help you that extra mile. And you were always that for me. And I don't mean the last 8 years. I mean the last 35. Truly last but not least, the administration, the employees of the city of Chattanooga. I can't thank you enough. I'm not even going to begin to try to call everybody's name out. Every one of you has been with me and has helped me in this council at some point or other in everything that we have done. People have no idea the work it takes to run a city of this size and the intricacies. It's easy to cast stones. It's so easy. It's so hard to sit back and realize the amount of work it takes. It's not about agreeing, it's about getting to the final result and doing the best work for constituents that we possibly can. And you truly do that. I can't thank all of you even enough. I'm going to end sharing 2 thoughts that I've held true that helped me through good and bad times while serving in elected office, and I believe serving in office as well as even serving the city as an employee is somewhat applicable. Remember, you were chosen for this role. Do not let it define you. Make something you are not. Rather, you should define it and do the best job you can. Nobody will be in their role forever. So plan to be something and plan to be someone when you leave. Remember, there is one and only one person you will sleep with every night for the rest of your life. One and only one person that will look back at you every time you look in the mirror. Make sure you like who that person is. When I first considered running for office, my wife told me I had to promise that we would never change who we are, and we hadn't. Except to say that our lives have been enriched by the people that we have met, the friends we have made, and the family that we have gained. And with that, Chairman, this is officially my end watch.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Ledford?
little more difficult than I thought. First of all, I want to say thank you. To my son, to my wife, for the past 8 years, who have given me wisdom, strength, encouragement to not give up when things get tough, because things get tough. Adversity it comes with a job. So I want to thank you. Zachary, you were a young man when I came into office. Next Monday at about 10:30, I'll just be good old dad. So that'll be interesting. But we're still never going to stop learning, listening, following, making sure that we're engaged and that we matter and that every voice in Chattanooga is heard, and that the difference of opinions and solutions are brought to the table because we are better. And that's something that I've taught you. We are better when we work together. And it's been, I think, a really incredible experience for you to see, not only working in an environment like this, your dad, but working alongside a friend of so many years, started off in college together. But then you've also met new friends, people that probably, and to be honest with you, I may never have met, but I am grateful for this position because I have. My life is better, and I hope through me that your life is better. Every single night I would go home, or every single morning I'd get up, first thing I would do is I start connecting people and working through situations for the district for the city of Chattanooga. And my wife would soon follow down the stairs not long after. And you have been an absolute immense part of lending incredible wisdom and support through a lot of tedious sometimes work, but important work, and then working through the hurdles that come with dealing with so many complex situations within the city. And your knack for research and knowledge has been an absolute godsend for helping me to understand and to have the knowledge that I need. You have made me successful, I believe, in this job, and I thank you so much. To my colleagues, chairing this commission or this council and serving on planning commission are just an incredible opportunity for me because you trusted me. And I trust you. And I've trusted each and every one of you. As I look around this dais, I mean, you all are, we hear this term a lot, and I wish a couple of others were here right now. Council family. Well, this truly is a family. And if you watch around the country at other organizations, other elected bodies, I promise you, you will never see a more well-oiled machine, more well-researched and prepared to come and do business for the city of Chattanooga than the ladies and gentlemen on this dais. That's because each one of us put in the work. We lean on each other for our specialties. We listen when we need to listen. We learn when we need to learn. And I think that Chattanooga has an incredible benefit from folks who are willing to put in this work. This is a very unique body. If you take a look around, you will see that. This is a very unique body. One person I would like to particular mention, well, two, but first one is I truly miss my dear friend, Dr. Carol Burrs. There are certain people in this life who leave an imprint on you and are in your head. And Carol and I have a longer history than just council. She was my wife's Girl Scout instructor. She and my mother-in-law ran the Girl Scouts for many years. So Dr. Burrs was an incredible lady, but more than that, she was an incredible friend, and I love her and I miss her dearly. I will carry every single lesson she gave me for the rest of my life, and I will share that with everyone that I meet. Ken and I shared a special event last night. Most of you have figured it out by now. Ken and I have known each other for roughly 35 years. We've been through a lot together, and I mean a lot. And when he had mentioned to me about running for office, I was just a concerned citizen who was interested in what was going on many different levels. He said, you should think about this. And we did. We prayed about it for a couple weeks. 8 years later, here we are. And without your support, my brother, let me tell you, my life would be not complete in my political career, but also with knowing what a true friend is. And I thank you for that. And last night we shared in something very special that I don't think could ever be topped. You can check our Facebook pages for that. In the administration, I have worked with 2 administrations. I've seen a vast difference in leadership. I have seen what true leadership looks like in both administrations, and I am very, very touched by what I have seen in this second administration under Mayor Tim Kelly. I have seen and worked with people who are extremely dedicated, talented, resourceful, resilient, and committed. Being able to pick up the phone and call our chief of police, pick up the phone and call our fire chief, our chief of staff, who will call me, especially Fridays at late. I don't know what that's about, Jermaine. But Jay, you respond. Kimberly, I'm looking around the room. Javid, Mandy, I could go on all day because the people in this room are truly talented. You're dedicated, but more than that, you work with us. And I know we have 2 new faces. We have Councilman-elect Jeff Davis, Councilman-elect Cody Harvey sitting here. I hope you're soaking this in. This is not an easy job. This is as real as it gets. You are now taking on a responsibility that is not just your interest, but you are becoming very interested in a lot of different things. A lot of different things, and that will be your charge. And I believe that you can do it. And never forget that you work for the people and the citizens of Chattanooga, and you better leave it better than you found it, because we're still around. So as ending a committee report, chairman of planning and zoning for 7 years, sitting on the planning commission for 7 years, chairing this council for a year, one of the toughest years I've ever had, to be frank with you. I wouldn't trade it for anything in this world. I wouldn't trade it for the friendships that I have made here to each and every one of you. I truly am a different person because of this job, and I'm grateful for that. And I hope that we will see a lot of each other. It's not like we're shipping off to space or anything. I hope that we will see a lot of each other, and this is just the beginning of a different kind of working relationship. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I will say this is also my end of watch.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hester, you want to hit your light for me?
I guess it doesn't come easy. I guess my wife's not here tonight. She's out serving, trying to get one of our colleagues elected. But I know she's been by my side all this time. And I say this, it's been an honor to serve. And scripture teaches us the greatest among us are those who serve. It takes a lot. takes a lot out of you, mentally, physically. It's not an easy task. And you deal with different personalities. It's not easy, very complex. But I would say this to those who are listening, those who would see this broadcast, who stay engaged, to love each other, to love your neighbor, but most of all, to love you, God. It's been an honor. To my colleagues, all the wisdom you bestow upon me, and all, I love listening to folks. I try to be more thoughtful, just spouting out words, So it's been tough. I say that. But let me say this. How about the mocks? How about the mocks? Most of us graduated from UTC. Yeah, that's something we mentioned last week before I left. I said, man, you guys can be watching the game. Yeah, that's something about Chattanooga. We have that grit, that determination. We'll continue, to persevere as a city. We just got to love one another. We got to merge effectively together. That's what we have to do. Even through our some obstacles we may go through, but it is part of that growing process. One thing, we call ourselves a city within a park. But thank God we are a national park city. That's something to be excited about. National Park City. There was a great man who once said, I'll say this to Corey Hall, who ran against me. He's in the audience right now. And I encourage you to keep on moving, brother. There was a great man who once said, if you can't fly, walk. If you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But wherever you do, keep it moving. I say that to everybody here, to keep on moving. You never stop learning, growing. And I've learned a lot from these guys, different personalities, I've strengthened myself. And one thing I would say, I never compromise my Christian values being a city councilman. And I'm just a preacher, became a politician. And I'll continue, Ken, to be engaged with the community, to make a difference in our community. I'll continue to love. I say this to each and every one, just love on each other. That's what we need in this community. It's too much hate, too much division. We just got to love on one another. And that's what the Master taught, that ye love one another, even as I love you. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Coonrod. Hit your lot for me.
I decided to go out not as I came in, as being a whirlwind. I made sure not to wear my, tennis shoes and ball cap and all that, but I do want to play something for y'all, though. Listen, that's the instrumental, the Bone Crusher. The song is Never Scared. And you all know how I came in. I've never backed away from anything, and I've just been apologetically me. But I do want to share a quick story, is because a lot of times our community members, they see us serving, and so many times they've come up to the mic and said that we're getting paid or we doing all kind of stuff, we making all this money. And I often find myself saying, well, where the money at? I mean, every 2 weeks roll around, I was getting, $21,000 after the year and the taxes. But I'm like, well, then you expect for me to continue to live in poverty and so on and so forth. And people just really didn't understand our role of what we done. But I got into politics simply because I couldn't afford to send my 5 children to summer camp when I came home from prison. And you probably like, man, you couldn't afford to send them. And at that time, it probably was around $30. But you thinking 5 kids, no job, on welfare, it's like, where I'm gonna get the additional money from? But I knew the impact that summer camp had for me and my kids. I wanted them to go. I wanted them to experience then what I experienced as a kid growing up in the rec centers. And my grandmother said, why don't you call Zach Wump? Because at that time, he was in Congress. And I was like, well, who is Zach Wump? But what he got to do with the rec centers? I had no idea, nothing. So I gave him a call, and then he said, well, you know, that's a city thing. It's a city issue, but Russell Gilbert, he the council person over that district. I said, council person? What you mean council person? This man ain't came to our neighborhood or nothing like that. I'm trying to figure out who is this guy. So I end up running into a guy named Al Chapman, and he said, well, you know, they have city council meetings on Tuesdays. Oh, you mean to tell me they have council meetings? I had no idea, and my grandmother only knew this one guy, which was Zach Wump. Well, anyway, I found out the day and time, and I came down and introduced myself and gave the whole spiel, why they charging for kids to go to camp, so on and so forth. Boy, if they had you put our meetings on YouTube back then you probably would say I was worse than Marie Mott. But I needed my kids to be able to attend summer camp. And Russell Gilbert and I, we got into a back and forth. And before I could get my minutes out of finish saying what I was saying, I remember saying, if you don't get it changed, I'm going to run against you. I'm going to run against you, Russell, and I'm going to be a thorn in your side. And every Tuesday after that, I found myself coming to city council meetings every Tuesday. Well, ironically enough, 2 years later, this thing called redistricting that I found out about quickly. I was moved out of District 5. My part of Eastdale was moved out of District 5, and I was put in District 9. Now, still didn't know much about it. I still was saying, well, Russell, I'm still going to run against you. He said, well, you can't because I put you in District 9. Now you got to run against the District 9 person. Well, who is the district? Now I had to get to know the District 9 person, and at that time it was Peter Murphy. And he and I became good friends, and then Yusuf had come back into play, and I was like, man, I'm still going to run. I still gave it a shot based off of that. But needless to say, during my time of running in my first term, is that people put all these different labels on me because they felt as if I didn't belong. Here it is, you have a reformed convicted felon, you're a single parent at the time, you got teenage kids, one that's having a baby, that was a teen mother at the time, now I got a baby that I got to try to raise. And somebody said, well, how you gonna be the council person and you got a grandbaby on your hip? And I said, well, you know, the same way that we've been taking care of everybody else's kids, I'm gonna take care of this one. Because my baby got to finish school and go off to college and all this other stuff. They talked about the way I dressed. I mean, it was just on and on and on. Like they got the task, even after I won, it was like they continued to belittle me, to try to drag me. Like I couldn't please none of them. And some of that even came with some of my council members at the time that just couldn't stomach the fact that I had arrived to a different place. Even made sure at many times that I wouldn't become the chair of the council because simply they did not like me. But I wasn't here to be liked. I was here to make sure that my people was represented, our communities that had been historically marginalized and at a disadvantage. It wasn't about making friends, although I did make friends, but it was hard for me. And it was moments that if I didn't show up, you could best believe that there was a newspaper article or an article in the Chattanooga or anything that said so much bad stuff about me simply because I couldn't make it to a neighborhood meeting at one time. The expectations that was placed on me was, none of the expectations that was placed on my colleague was nothing like it was for me. I couldn't even breathe in hard or exhale hard without people. Why she had to breathe like that or inhale and exhale like that? Without them, just giving me a hard time about nothing. And in my mind, I had to be the hardest working council person that it was, not just for my district, but I had to show up for everybody to where I started wearing dresses. Not that I didn't look good in them then, but the style, the way that I dressed changed. Simply because I was so ridiculed to where, and growing up as a hippie woman, you just can't help certain things or the way clothes fit you. But I wasn't conservative enough. I didn't fit the part to be the council person. I wasn't smart enough. It was just constantly all kind of stuff. And which prompted me to go back to school and finish the last 2 classes that I couldn't afford at UTC. But finally, I was able to afford to pay for those 2 classes to go back and finish my degree. But I was always well-versed in the criminal justice reform realm because it affected me and my household, not just us, but it affected the entire community that I served. And as I looked out into Chattanooga and realized it just isn't us, it's affecting every single body that I encounter on a daily basis. The political silos, we operate in Chattanooga in a nonpartisan manner. And the one thing that frustrates me the most is when we act partisan. That's not one Chattanooga at all, and that's how I move. And to be told as a Black woman that because I'm Black, that I have to have the ideal and think as a Democrat is unacceptable to me because I represent all people, whether if you're a Republican, if you're a Democrat, if you're an independent, if you're Black, if you're white, if you're Hispanic, I represent you all because I understood earlier on that you have to have an independent mindset to be able to move within Chattanooga and Hamilton County. And sometimes that means that you have to go into places that often so many people say you're not wanted there. So many times that people said, you shouldn't go to those Republican meetings. I'm going. Why? Because their issues matter to me too. And it doesn't matter that if it's a DRR, we all fighting the same thing. It don't matter. But when we continue to operate in a manner to where we have to be in these different silos, nothing gets done. We just begin to form hate against each other for no apparent reason. And life shouldn't be like that at all. But I'm grateful for the opportunity that I had to serve. I learned a lot. And in my community, I'm just gonna say it and be honest, is that that first term was really hard. It was a lot of, roadblocks and barriers that was in place to cause me not to be successful in many people's minds. The administration then, I'm appreciative then because employment, I end up losing my job during that first term, and because they said it was a conflict of interest for me to serve on, so that was an income loss. And I resorted to having to live off credit cards that nobody even knew. Like I'm living on my credit cards. Mayor Andy Burke, he knew what was going on, the team, the first administration, and they pick up the phone and be like, hey, we got a delivery coming to your house. But my constituents didn't know I was living this way. I'm living in poverty, trying to serve the very people that was in poverty. On Tuesdays would be the only meal that we would have many a nights. To feed my family on Tuesday nights, we would take the food home, and that's what we fed into the next stretch. But all the community saw was me coming in here smiling, being brave enough to serve my community. When my lights got cut off, and Coach Jennings said, we're gonna find a way to get your bill paid, go down here to light heap. As embarrassing as it was to me, I still showed up. I still fought for my constituents who didn't have nowhere to stay, and here it is, I was a leg almost being homeless again. But no one ever take the time to ask council people, what are you dealing with? What are you carrying? It's always, I need you to show up. I need you to continue to fight. I need you to be at this neighborhood meeting. My colleagues watched me go through many heartbreaks of loss, from my daughter to my mama to my grandmother, my nephew just recently, and last when my dad passed. Like, that took everything out of me, and my light went out then, but still I showed up. I showed up every Tuesday with a smile, but I was broken. These are the things that we deal with as a council person that many people don't even realize. Too, not only that, they destroyed relationships among the Black council people that's here on the dais. The previous and now. To where, had we known, well, and it took me a little minute to realize that what was going on, had we just stuck together, we would have been a force. But those kind of things happen intentionally because they don't want you to work together. They would rather it look as if I hate Councilwoman Dotley versus us working together. Or Hester and I can't get along for 5 minutes because we can't work together. But we would have been so much powerful together if we could have just figured out what the real problem was. And it took a minute there. But I've learned from each and every last one of you guys. Chip, and I know you all saw us go round and round and round. But when I called this man, he was there. It wasn't a moment or a time that I could not depend on Chip. He's seen me at my worst. Chip has prayed for me. He done prayed with me. Chip done fed me. Chip done gave me guidance and knowledge beyond this council dais. And I'm thankful for you, Chip. I appreciate it. And sometimes, those relationships, they explode in the front, but it be that passion. And I couldn't understand at one point why this man cares so much about me. He on the opposite side. He a Republican. But I knew his heart. And I'm glad I had the opportunity for us to serve together, Chip. I really appreciate you. You ain't getting rid of me now. We done put in too much work for me to just be like, I want to throw his phone up in the trash. Ken, man, it's been a long ride even before I became a council member. You was a person who came to my neighborhood when I was just a community organizer. They said, what can we do to help you out? When nobody else wanted to show up, you was there in the trenches with us. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the way that you have treated me and extended a hand while I've been serving on council. That really means a lot. It was one time where we all was just Ken Smith for mayor. We was putting it out in the atmosphere before anybody else was even saying it, and we was so upset when you didn't run for mayor, but we appreciate you so much. And I'm just looking forward to all the great things that you will continue to do on county commission and wherever else that you decide to go to. Lefford, man, listen. We done had our run-ins. Now, Lefford the type, he'll catch me in the hallway and be like, cool ride now, you was wrong. You was wrong. I expect better from you. And you fix yourself up and you go on down there and you be that council person that we all know that you can be. I appreciate those conversations, Lefford. I appreciate you filling my cup up every single time. And it's like Lefford would be the person that knew that it was something on my mind. It's like he could just tell. And I used to be like, hey, Lefford, how you know? What's going on? It's like, and he'll always say the right thing at the right time. I appreciate you, Lefford. I'm going to still be in touch with you. Hester, I knew you before you came on council, so I know that power to the people, Hester. And I was ready for you to show them the other side of Ike because they needed to see that. And I know that you're not going to just stop today. You're going to continue to be involved. I see that in you. I regret that all the stuff that happened because it shouldn't have happened. But I know that those lies, people are going to see the truth for what it is. It's something else for you. This just ain't the last stop for you. That's for sure. So I'm most definitely going to call you. Make sure you ain't just laying in the bed like giving up. Nope, because that's not an option. We both going to have our boots on the ground and I'm going to have my fan because we going to have to continue. It's a lot of work that needs to continue to be done. But I'm glad I got to see you on this side and we got to serve together. Jenny, man, listen. All them questions, at least you done made me get my research game to level it up. Like, man, let me go see what Jenny talking about. I got to be ready for all these 100 questions she finna ask. I got to at least act like I know what I'm talking about. At least I read it, you know. But prior to you serving on council, you know, I enjoyed canvassing for you working on your campaign for school board. Before I even thought about trying to run for city council. My husband and I, well, then Anthony, we weren't married then, but we worked on several campaigns. But it was a joy working with you then. It was a great joy, a refresher for you to come in on a school board. I learned a lot from you then. I was really excited when Jerry said, I got somebody in mind to run for my seat to replace me. And when he mentioned you, I knew that you would be a great addition. Now, I'm not going to miss all them questions. I can't tell you that. Like, I'm like, oh, shit, you will hold up a meeting, baby, with all them. But I know it's for great cause. You know, if I hadn't done my homework, I know I can always depend on you to come through for me, you know, and I could just, tail in on your coattail and be like, yes, she did it for us all. So, I'm glad I had the opportunity to serve with you in this capacity. Jermaine, it's so much I can say about you, man. And it's all good. It's all good. We go way back, way back, way back. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to work with you on this side. I mean, I've seen you just grow from being a community organizer to being involved. Man, I'm just really excited about where you going, what you gonna do, what's next. Because I know the past 6 years, I probably every Tuesday said to Jermaine, man, are you leaving, Jermaine? Because somebody finna take you away from Chattanooga. He's just that talented. Like, why wouldn't nobody else want Jermaine? It's like, you still here or you here with us. But I don't know what it is, but it's gonna be something more great for you. Here, I love you. You're going to always be my brother. I know you somebody that I could call at any given time. And, but I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Chris Anderson. Regardless of what people say.
What do they say?
Listen. Regardless of what they say, we know you do not run council. Let's get this out let's get it out the way. But no, honestly, I'm glad to see you here in this capacity, and two, because everybody that I had the opportunity to organize with, somehow they working in government. And I wrote, in case whoever didn't read the end of the book, I talked about Chris in my book. How I was looking forward to serving with a friend that we just had been on the ground working and grounding it out to where I was going to have that opportunity to serve on city council with that individual, and that individual was Chris. But we got to work in a whole nother different capacity. I've learned a lot from you. I've still watched you, even in those moments that I've just been so angry with you. I still have watched you grow and become the person that you are today. Very knowledgeable. you've prepared me with a lot of stuff when I don't know the answers or, need more research on it, like you've been more than willing to give it to me, and I thank you for that. It's so many people that I could talk about in this audience, but I'm gonna end it for the sake of time. But I done had a great time on council. I've, met a lot of different great people. I wish Chief Roddy was here. I built a great relationship with Chief Roddy. And he was the sole reason to help me build a better relationship with the Chattanooga Police Department. Just with the police department altogether, because I had such a deep hatred for the police department. It wasn't just a uniform in itself, because what it had done to our communities historically. The shootings and all the stuff that we done moved on from. And it took him to when Peyton's dad got killed. Again, we prayed together, we ran together, whatever it took, he was there. And I viewed it differently. I started to, remove my own biases and build better relationships. So when it come to anything police related, I called Chief Roddy first. So I knew when Chambers came up for pick, and I called him and said, hey, can you tell me about this guy? Like, he said, Coon Roddy, if you like me, you gonna really love Chambers. And I'm thankful for the relationship you and I have, made with each other. It's not a moment, anytime that I call or I got questions or concerns, you've always been there. And I'm looking forward to a continued lasting relationship with you and the other police officers too. But last and not least, I gotta say to my love bucket, there you go over there, love bucket. He get embarrassed quickly, but he done rolled this thing out with me. And everybody know he that guy that's gonna say, don't mess with my don't mess with my wife, don't come for my wife, cause she got a husband. It's done been plenty of times that he done wiped my tears away in the midst of the chaos. Days that I would just not even able to eat because of all the madness and noise that was going around, but he would be there to feed me, making sure that I was good, showing up at community meetings, even during the times that I couldn't show up, he would be my place filler for me. Love Bucket, I love you endlessly. Thank you for your support. Without these 8 years, I don't know what I would have done without you. And I'm just thankful that we still rocking and rolling together. And then I want to end with this poem. And on top of saying, y'all need to increase the wages for council people. So more people. And one thing for sure that I will say that I'm proud of, out of everything that I've done, I inspire people to run for office who never would have thought they had the opportunity to run for office. More people are stepping up to the plate to do great things, and I'm glad that they're doing that, because for some reason, to be a council person, people think it's got to look a certain way, and it don't. Sometimes you may need a person that's rough around the edges that get in here and kind of, shake some stuff up. I'm still going to be rough around the edges. I may try to iron them out a little bit. But here's a poem that I wrote. It says, "The bridge we're building. They say one Chattanooga, and maybe for the first time, I believe it's not just a phrase, but a possibility. Not perfect, not polished, but a bridge, stretching across generations of division. A bridge built from the hands of those who were never meant to meet. Black voices, brown labor, poor white grit, all stitched together by a struggle that looks different but feels the same. You see, the system told us our pain was separate, that our story stood in competition. But truth is, we've all stood in the welfare line of injustice. Different faces, same hunger. In Alton Park, in East Lake, in East Dale, and East Brainerd, you'll find folks praying for peace, fighting for roofs, stretching dollars, making babies on hope and hustle, raising babies on hope and hustle. So when we say one Chattanooga, it can't just be corporate clean and ribbon cuttings. It has to be community cookouts where policy sits at the table with people. It has to look like Black children dreaming past their zip code, brown mothers speaking their truth without translation, white workers knowing poverty ain't shame, it's systemic. One Chattanooga means we tear down the silos, we stop leading from towers and start listening from porches. We stop acting like unity is a kumbaya moment and recognize it's a grind, a fight, a sacrifice. But the bridge is being built, not by politics alone, but by the people who never gave up on the idea that we could rise together. So let One Chattanooga be more than a slogan. Let it be the street we walk, the vote we cast, the child we uplift, the story we no longer silence. Because if we build it right, One Chattanooga will be the city that proved healing is possible when we heal together. So, Chip, I'll end with this. I may not be on council, and I don't plan on coming to the dance to be no thorn in nobody's side, but I'm still gonna be around. You know, just give me a little moment. Give me about 30 days to kind of chill, get used to wearing my Jordans again. But after that, you can expect me back in the community, because that's what I do. I'm a community person first. I'm signing out. Peace.
Thank you, Kathleen. Councilwoman Dotley.
Well, they've made the rounds. They've made the rounds very well. So I just want to say thank you to my colleagues, the ones that are leaving. I'll be here next week, but to my colleagues that are leaving. I always give people these names because that's how I remember everybody. So for Councilman Smith, I always call you the strategist. You the person that, of course, no sunshine law violations on our end because we would never do that. But anytime I had a pressing issue or something I needed to work out and see the long game, you were always the person, and I appreciate you for that. To Councilman Ledford, the educator, thank you so much for teaching me, because planning and zoning is hard, but it's one of the most important things that we do. Teach me what a setback is, to tree buffers, and all the things that people don't think are important, but they are, and I appreciate you for that. And I really enjoyed serving as the vice chair when you were chair. It was really a great experience. Thank you for bringing me in as a partner. I just thank you so much for that. Councilman Hester, I always call you the preacher, but you know that because we always be around each other, and I'm sure everybody heard that today. So thank you for serving the way that you have. You're a good man doing good work, and we appreciate you. And I don't know if you know that, but you know I love you, and I appreciate you. You know we're going to stay in touch. And I always love what you always said about District 5. You always called them the beautiful people of District 5, no matter where we were. And I loved it because it just shows the love that you have for your community. To Councilwoman Coonrod, I was listening to you and I thought, the fighter, and I thought, no, the brave one who always stands up for her community and is hardly ever recognized for the first elected African-American woman for this seat, correct? Yes. And nobody ever says that, so we appreciate you and the work that you do. So thank you for standing in the gap for us. And to my colleagues that'll be here, I didn't have one for Jenny, but Councilman Smith said it, the scholar and our sage here, Chip Henderson, who gives out all the good words and great things. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. That's the end of my report.
Plan on being here. Madam Vice Chair.
Wow, this is a lot. We've heard more from Ken than we've heard in 2.5 years. Wow, it's tremendous. It's a joy to work with you all and to learn from you all, and to have come into a council that functions well with a high level of respect and dignity was a revelation for me, and a real joy to move from just not only being an elected servant, but actually having a work environment that was a joyful place to be. They don't always go together. So, and that started pre-day one with Councilwoman Coonrod when we all got together for a photo. And you came bounding out, and here I am, this nervous gal, just trying to make sure that my suit wasn't too wrinkled. And you're like, Jenny, well, you said Jenny, and just made me feel so welcome. And you've always been that smiling presence, and so thank you very much, Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilman Hester, it has been tremendous to learn alongside you as we have served in the same class and had many a time when we're both saying, what's happening? Let's make sure that we know how to advocate for our district as we learn together the budget process, the committee process, et cetera. I so appreciate you and your kindness. You're such a very kind heart. Ken, you are incredibly wise, and you are much more shrewd than I will ever be, and for that reason, I need you in my life, so thank you. And Darren, you made me feel like $1 million that day when you said, please, will you think about planning and zoning? Will you just take care of it for a year? Because I know how much it means to you, and that you had faith in my ability gave me confidence to do the job well. And you set a high bar for all of us, for being prepared, for being thoughtful, for engaging with not only our districts, but with the community at large. And for that, I am immensely grateful to you for setting that standard that I just can strive to live up to in the coming years. Thank you. I'll miss each and every one of you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So let me say, it has been an honor to serve with each and every one of you that are going out. I respect so much your commitment and your dedication to this job. And I could probably talk for 30 minutes about each one of you, and I don't want to take up that time. But I want each and every one of you to know how much you mean to me. There's a scripture that comes to mind in Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. And I want you to know each and every one of you has been iron in my life. You've sharpened me, you've made me better, and I'm a better person for knowing each and every one of you. And I can't thank each of you enough for what you've meant to me in my life. And one thing that I have learned about being on this council is when you bring something to this council, you better bring your A game because you will be sharpened. I appreciate the service that each of you, your commitment to this city. You've made this city better. You made this a better place to live because each one of you were on this council. And I want to thank you for your service. Thank you so much. Okay, moving now to other business. Mr. Attorney?
Yes, sir. We have an application or a certificate of compliance this evening that has been investigated for a wine and grocery store location, KVAT Food Stores, Inc., DBA Food City, number 735 at 6651 Lee Highway, Chattanooga, Tennessee. This application meets all the requirements of our ordinance, and all of the applicants who are required meet the code requirements here at the city. And that has been signed by 6 council members this evening.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
That concludes all of the items that we have on our agenda this afternoon. We come now to persons wishing to address the council this afternoon. If you would you come to the podium while the attorney reads the rules to address the council?
Yes, sir. And at the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address them. Here's your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized at the microphone provided up front for that purpose. Can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Don't engage in any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law, and someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, please state your name and go ahead, sir.
It's John. It's my belief that at the end of every council term, there's 100% turnover. Regardless of election results, there's new seats being filled, and those who are returning as different people. And 2.5 years ago, when I started coming to city council, I'm sure there are many times when you looked and thought, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, this guy's making mistakes. And I agree with you, and it's been a journey and it's been hard to show up at times. And I want to appreciate each and every one of you, especially those who won't be here next week, for all that you've taught me and what I've learned. But the reason for me to be here today is to say a little bit about my city councilor, specifically Demetrius Coonrod. There's not a lot of city councilors that come with a memoir or a manual, but she did write an essay and actually wrote a second one, or a memoir about her life. And early on in this journey, when I got a copy from her, she wrote to me to keep showing up. And I think one of the specific things that's important about Demetrius is that she didn't show up to city council out of an outflow of her privilege, but because of her tenacity, her gumption, and her hustle. She was not given the state that would lead her here naturally, which is so important for someone like me who cares deeply about this city, but as you know, I lack the credentials. In my short stint as a political candidate for 60 to 90 days, and you all know how that turned out, I learned a lot about what it took to get to where y'all are right now, and I appreciate the work that each of you put in. But specifically, the reason I even thought about doing that in the first place is because I knew the vacuum that would occur when you left your seat, and I didn't want that to happen. I'm someone who struggles with imposter syndrome, so having someone who I know has struggled and overcome more than me to be in that seat is something that's encouraging. And it's something that I think it's important for me to see. It's important for my children, especially my daughter, to see as well. So I appreciate that when you show up, you bring your whole self, that you ask questions that other people don't ask, that you vote even if you vote alone, and that if you look at what you believe and what I believe, there might not be 100% overlap. In fact, where we do agree, we might disagree on how that should be implemented. But what is important is that you represent the right thing, even if it means educating your constituents, which is a lot of extra work, even if it means knocking on doors and asking people's opinion, because it's not enough to just get the opinion of the people that show up. It means a lot that you show up in all those ways, and that you've continued to show up in all those ways. Even when it wasn't popular, even when it wasn't the cool thing to do, you did the right thing by your constituents as you saw fit, and that means so much to me. So anyways, thank you so much, Demetrius, and we're gonna miss you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Anthony Gladden, Councilwoman Coonrod's husband. Looking at everybody here, I'm pretty familiar with everybody. I'll go ahead and read what I wrote. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I stand before you filled with pride and deep gratitude for the remarkable woman that I have the honor of calling my wife, City Councilwoman Demetrius Coonrod Gladden. For the past 8 years, she has poured her heart, soul, and countless hours into serving the people of District 9 and the entire city of Chattanooga. It is a rare gift to witness someone not only speak about change, but truly embody it every single day. And that is what Demetrius has done. It hasn't been easy. She has faced ridicule, endured false accusations, and seen her integrity questioned. Yet through every trial, she stood tall. She's never wavered. She didn't let the noise of the world take away her focus. Instead, she channeled those challenges into a greater determination to serve the people with honesty and passion. To be a public servant is to be vulnerable, and Demetrius has borne that vulnerability with grace, using it to uplift others rather than let it break her. I've witnessed her devotion to this city, not just District 9, but all of Chattanooga. She didn't just show up for a community, she showed up for everyone. Demetrius worked tirelessly to bridge gaps, create opportunities, and ensure that every voice, no matter how small, was heard. Her heart has always been with the people, whether it was attending endless meetings, rallying for causes, or finding solutions for issues that seemed insurmountable. And yes, she made sure I attended those neighborhood meetings I didn't want to go to. But I understood why. She believed in every corner of this city, and her commitment to that belief was infectious. Her service has been not just been a job, it has been a calling. And through it all, she showed her personal griefs and losses with incredible strength, losing her grandmother, her mother, her daughter, her father, and my grandfather. Also, Miss Jessie Igo, rest in peace, who she admired so much. Yet through profound losses, she continued to serve and lead with a heart full of love and resilience. That is the kind of person she is, someone who leads not just with knowledge and action, but with the deepest of hearts. There are times when I have been in awe of her ability to juggle it all. She gave more than just her time. She gave pieces of herself to everyone who needed her, to every issue that called for attention. And now, after 8 years of dedication, I'm finally looking forward to the moment we can ride in the car and not have to cut the radio down because the phone is ringing from constituents calling. Through the trials of her public service, she stood tall even when those she called friends lacked loyalty. She showed us all the true meaning of integrity and perseverance. She has never been afraid to stand alone for what she believed in, even if it meant standing against the tide. I didn't finish, but I could go on and on. Ken, a lot of y'all I never knew, but I'm grateful that I got a chance to meet you. Ledford has done so much for me and my organization. I appreciate you, brother. Phil, I got to know you some kind of way, but hey, and Chip, my wife loves you. I love you as well as your wife. Jeannie, I didn't get a lot of time to kick it with you or whatever, meet you like that, but she loves you, so I love you. Raquel, we done been to West Side Baptist countless times on your invite, so we appreciate you. Job well done. And that's when your grandmother passed right before this, she said, look after my baby. And I was making sure that I did that. So you done did a great job. I don't care what nobody say, you did a great job.
Vince Butler, I'm here, I guess, to give my address, 6504 Lake Shadow Circle, District 3. Here to represent the Coolidge National Medal of Honor Heritage Center. Wanted to come today, because it's the last day that many of you are going to be on this dais, and say thank you on behalf of the Heritage Center and what this city council's done and this mayor's done to help honor a great Chattanooga hero. If you didn't know, I know some of y'all were able to come to the grand opening last week. We opened up the Captain Larry Taylor Medal of Honor exhibit, and if you haven't seen it, please come by and see it. It's an incredible story of a local hero who is a Vietnam veteran that truly represents the best of all of us in what he did on June 18th, 1968, but more importantly, what he did after the war when he came home and became a leader in the veteran community, a philanthropic business leader, and making an impact on this community that lives on through the Heritage Center and his exhibit. So those that came to the grand opening received a gift on behalf of of the Heritage Center and everybody that's involved. I wanted to bring the gift to you today. To say thank you personally. And it goes back to actually the council members back here in 2017 when we launched our capital campaign and the city supporting the effort to build what is there today at the Aquarium Plaza, to most recently helping us honor Captain Taylor, the new exhibit. But more importantly, later this year, where all living Medal of Honor recipients will be coming to Chattanooga for a week-long convention. And to have up to 61 recipients in this town for a week to honor Chattanooga as the birthplace of the Medal of Honor, that heritage of the medal, our country's highest award for valor on the battlefield, started in Chattanooga, April 12th, 1863 to the fall of 1863, where the first and only woman, if you don't know this, received the Medal of Honor, Dr. Mary Walker. But it's the heritage of that medal that we all honor when we honor our veterans. Started here in Chattanooga. It's an important part of that Chattanooga story. So I know some of you already have this, but I'm bringing the rest today to present to you. It is a challenge coin, Dark Horse 3-2. That was Larry Taylor's call sign. It is a challenge coin, a tradition if you're in the military. If you're not in the military, have this on you, because if you're ever at a bar and having a drink with a veteran, he slaps that coin on the table, If you don't have a coin, that means you're buying. So if you do have a coin, slap this coin down and he's buying or she's buying. So this is a gift from us to you. And I want to say thank you for everything you've done in making the mission possible, what we're doing every day and bringing kids into the Heritage Center to teach them about those 6 traits that embody the Medal of Honor, something they don't learn many other places. So thank you again. I'm going to leave this up and I just pass it down. And that's Karen, Rakita, Marvin. She's not here, but I hope somebody will give that to her. Chip, Demetrius, that's yours. Isaiah. And then Councilwoman Burrs is not here, so I'll trust that y'all will get those 2 to her. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Grace Crossett, and I'm one of 3 social work interns at the Chattanooga Public Library. We are students at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, with 2 of us pursuing our bachelor's in social work and the other toward a master's. During our time at the library, we've helped our clients meet a variety of needs, such as finding housing or emergency shelter, finding affordable medical care, helping set up electronics or online profiles, as many people who are unhoused or elderly are not familiar with technology beyond a basic level, discovering applicable resources to a client and how to access them, applying for jobs, applying for benefits, and so much more. We've also begun creating community partnerships with local agencies to provide clients with better access to resources. We've made much progress this year, as we have each year. This collaboration from UTC and the library has been in effect. With that being said, there's still a massive gap in services, as we're only students and still have much to learn and experience, and there's minimal social service presence due to school breaks and closures. With this gap, I'm asking you to consider approving the budget for the library system to have a full-time licensed social worker employed. This would aid in assuring the people of Chattanooga can access the necessary resources and live a quality of life in this beautiful city. Having a full-time social worker at the library could improve not only the ability of people to have a way to meet their needs, but also to help improve the culture and promote the safe space that the library provides. This would be a benefit not only for individuals and library staff, but the community as a whole. Thank you for your time.
All right, anyone else that would like to address the council this afternoon? Council, I am not seeing anyone else. What's your pleasure?
Move we adjourn.
Oh, before we adjourn, Councilman Ledford, you got your light on for?
That was a motion to finally adjourn.
Okay, so moved. We're adjourned.